Welcome back. A consummate performance by Liverpool over in Marseille. 3-0 winners tonight in the south of France. Let's speak about the first goal, which, as we say, it felt like the second goal came at a very important time, but so did the first just before the break. And a very clever, crafty free kick by Dominik Szoboszlai.
I think that's the word, clever, because I was expecting him to go over the wall.
I think everybody
was. I think the goalkeeper was, and he gets caught out. And where's the draft guy underneath? You know, they never did it, did they?
Got to have the draft excluded.
They've got to have the draft excluded. And he's been clever there, Szoboszlai, because it's right in the stroke of half-time. We hadn't got the goal we deserved, but he recognised that he was capable of doing it. And then you start thinking, have we scored one of them before? I think Coutinho did one. Steven Gerrard do one, am I right? But it was a really clever free kick, yeah, because he recognised that everyone thinks he's gone over the wall, and under it went. Really clever.
I think he was on it, to be honest. I thought it was an ideal angle for Salah.
I wonder if that just played into their thinking as well, because Rulli's expecting that kind of delivery up and over the wall from Salah, and then Szoboszlai rattles
goes under.
I mean, from your point of view, how hard is that to do? Because you know you're going to go under the wall, you know you've got to keep it low, but you've got to hit it with enough pace to beat the goalkeeper. So
it's not that hard, actually, is it? I'd rather hit that.
I'd prefer to bend it rather than go low, but certain players prefer that.
Yeah, I mean, to drill it low like that is easier than trying to get it up and over the wall and into the top corner, obviously. But I mean, that's something off, you know, that the data guy's got, hasn't he? Like they've done their own work on that.
You can imagine someone's like, I'll do this. You could imagine him saying that, couldn't you? Saying, I'll do that, I can get this underneath.
That's what I like about him. He takes everything on.
Yeah.
Like even the penalty. I mean, he's absolutely hammered that penalty at the weekend. And it's hit the bar, it hasn't gone in. But, you know, I like the fact that he puffs out his chest and he fancies
and maybe he needed this, because after what happened against Barnsley,
he's had a bad week, hasn't he?
He's just had that and gone, here we go, I'm back.
Yeah, no, it makes me think that he was off, you know, off what they've seen and what they've studied, because him being on it, Szoboszlai, a right footer under the wall into that bottom corner is going to be easier than Salah at left foot going round sort of with a bit of an arc on it. So it would have suited Szoboszlai. So they obviously have looked into it, and he's just got it right, hasn't he? It's brilliant.
As you say, maybe he's had a little bit of a tricky week, but overall, Mels, he's having an outstanding season, isn't he?
I think it'd be hard to argue that he's been Liverpool's best player this season. I think he has. He's been consistent, and that's what you ask for. He's been asked to play it right back, and he's done it. You know, he's played as a 10, as an 8. He's played out on the right hand side as well. He's been absolutely superb, and and I think when I watch Szoboszlai, I think he's a player who can get double figures for goals. Yeah. And I think this is his season where he does that. He didn't last season, but I'm looking this season and think he's going to get double figures and some important goals as well. The one obviously against Arsenal, this one tonight, you feel as though he's got some important goals in his locker, and he's full of confidence as well, and you can see that in his performances. You need that.
Yeah,
his form's actually caused the manager a headache, hasn't it? Because he's so good, you don't want to take him out of that midfield area, but he's had to play him on the right because he's had to accommodate Bradley missing or Frimpong being injured or whatever. But his form's that good, he's actually playing in a position where you probably want to see Wirtz play. You know, just at the head of that diamond, if they play like that, or ahead of the 3. He's had to move him out at the right of the 3 at times to accommodate other players. But he's, I agree with Mels. I think he's been arguably Liverpool's best player this season.
Only the third Liverpool player, I was going to say, to score or assist in 5 successive Champions League games. The other 2 being Steven Gerrard and Mohamed Salah himself, of course. So he's in fine company. I mean, these guys are used to waxing lyrical about Dominik Szoboszlai, but I'll ask you, Kev, in terms of Premier League this season, he's establishing himself as one of the top midfielders in this country, but where does he stand across the rest of Europe?
I think he's right up there. This is the player he was always meant to be. Like in Hungary, they've been talking about him for years, like from when he was younger. You look at how many games he's already played for Hungary, you look at the fact he's the Hungary captain already, scored some really important goals for them as well. At Leipzig, he learned all of the work without the ball. So he's a bit of a unicorn, really, because he does all of that hard work without the ball. He can pass, he can shoot, he's got that consistency. That's why the Barnsley thing really took me by surprise, because it just isn't the kind of thing he does. Doesn't do that kind of thing.
I thought he'd been reading his own press, though. You know, like everyone's waxing lyrical about him, and sometimes you get a little bit complacent. That performance against Barnsley just eked a little bit of that. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like...
He scored a worldie as well in the game, hasn't he?
Early on, I mean, he's got it in it one, hasn't he? But I just thought the way he started, he was a bit like, it was a bit easy for him, and it was kind of like he'd read his own press and thought, yeah, I am a little bit like, well, you can't, you'll get punished, and he ended up doing it to himself, actually, didn't he? But
then it's a good lesson, right? Because if it's in a game you've already won, then or you go on to win, then that hasn't cost you anything. That just bumps him back on track. But I think he's a phenomenal footballer.
I think it also, I like what you said there, because I think it gives the manager the opportunity to pull him to one side and just say, listen, keep your mind on it. You do, everything you were doing before you got in this position was brilliant. You just keep doing that. No complacency. Don't be trying this again. I don't care what he's come out with afterwards. Listen, you don't do this in any kind of game. You don't give an opponent an opportunity like that. And I think that's, like you just said, that's good for him.
OK, I think we're going to hear from Arne Slot in just a minute. The boss is on his way, but a quick word on Cody Gakpo as well, because it puts the gloss on the scoreline, but also fully deserved and really nice as well for him to get a slice of the action, Mels.
Yeah, great finish. Should have had an assist as well. He's the one who played the ball for Salah for that opportunity. I think when you're a sub, and no player wants to be a sub, you're frustrated, you're disappointed. He came on and sort of felt as though I want to impact the game. It wasn't a case I'm going to sulk and disappointed, even though he came on at 2-0. And credit to him, because he came on and impacted the game. He got himself a goal, and you could see the delight in his face. And it may be the difference between maybe he comes into the starting lineup for the game against Bournemouth at the weekend. So he sort of is mixed with the fans at the moment. Cody Gakpo, I've always been a big fan of Cody Gakpo. I think he gives us good balance out there. He gives you numbers, end product. And I'm pleased he got that goal tonight. I do like that.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a tricky season at times for him, Jason. Was billed obviously as a big campaign with the departure of Luis Diaz. So it maybe hasn't clicked quite how he would have wanted it to so far.
Yeah, and listen, his numbers last season were quite productive. It was 17 or 18 goals I think he scored. So with Luis Diaz going, he's probably thought, this is my position now, and I'm going to have a large number of games throughout the season and stuff. But going back to Dominik Szoboszlai, what I was saying before, he's kind of been undroppable in that area, which means Wirtz has then inevitably found himself on that left side, which means Gakpo then has had to make way. And listen, again, I mentioned it about one of the players before, Kerkez. I think he's faced some unfair criticism, Cody Gakpo. Listen, he has become quite predictable. He does come inside on that right foot. That's his first thought, isn't it? Come inside, hit it. I'd like to see him mix it up a little bit, go down the outside, make defenders think a little bit more. But his presence in the team, I think from his height point of view, I think he's honest. I like what Mel said. I think I agree with him. I think his attitude is really good. Tonight he's come on, he hasn't sulked, he wants to affect the game. And I think at times he's been taken out the team when, I think there was did he score against Villa? I think he had a really good performance against Villa and then missed the next game, and I thought, I wonder how he'll take that. He's played really well there, and then you've taken him out the team. But listen, he's got on with it. He's a good pro, and again, he gets his goal tonight. So we'll see what happens for Bournemouth.
He is a good pro, and I think that attitude, especially in a team like Liverpool, where very few get to play week in, week out, and there's always going to be some kind of rotation. But in terms of what he can do, Kev, to increase his chances of starting more games, what would you say? Is it building those relationships still with Milos Kerkez on that left-hand side? It still needs time to click?
That feels like the key to the whole thing for me. I think as Kerkez settles, he will be taking players away to give him a bit more space, to create a bit more unpredictability on that side. But also, as the guys have said, Florian Wirtz is going to have to be squeezed into that team at times. If you want him to operate in a wide area and come in, there isn't going to be space for Gakpo. But look, they're going to play a lot of games, hopefully, certainly in this competition, and so he'll get his opportunities. But he is a top player. He is, and has been from when he was at PSV. And I think he's adapted really well. He'll come again. He's a really effective player, I think.
A word for Hugo Ekitiké as well. He said Mo Salah was unlucky not to get on the score sheet, but so was he, to be fair. He had the offside goal, which, right decision, but not by much, was it? And then hits the bar as well, Mel.
Yeah, I was gutted for him at the weekend because he had a goal disallowed, and then he had another one disallowed today. He hits the post. He was unlucky with that one. Good movement. The keeper makes a brilliant save, even though it went down as a goal kick. He was a little bit unlucky. Jace mentioned it a little bit earlier on. He worked tirelessly hard. He leads the line so well. He's an absolute handful, and I think he's developing a really good understanding with Wirtz, and I think it's really blossoming, and it's great to watch. So he's always a threat. You always think, oh, he's going to get himself a goal out there. So he didn't get it tonight, disallowed. But you always think, I'm actually thinking it's going to be a nice little battle. Who's going to push him to be top scorer this season? It's always been Salah. And Ekitiké is out there at the moment. Can Salah get close to him? Because at the moment, I'm thinking it's going to be Ekitiké.
Sounds really basic, but he always affects the game. And that's what you're looking for. He never hides. He always wants the ball. Keeps on going. He's really impressive, and he's always had that dynamism. I think you look at Frankfurt. He was scoring lots of goals. He was making goals for Marmouche when they had a really nice little, partnership up front. That's what I really like about him. You want players who are going to really affect the game in different ways, and he does it.
Yeah, you look at him and Wirtz, and when you're looking further ahead and towards the future, that's obviously a key relationship in seasons to come, Jace, as well.
Yeah, we were speaking about it before, and obviously we were speaking about it off camera. Wirtz, he's come into a team, he's a player, he's an absolute player, and sometimes they're 1 or 2 steps ahead of everybody else, aren't they? And
he's a superstar.
It's really difficult sometimes to catch up, but they do get there in the end. They get on the same wavelength. Listen, strikers, they feed on supply, don't they? And sometimes you don't want to be looking at the man to tell him where he is. Sometimes you just need to be there and trust he's going to put it there. Well, Wirtz is the man. He's going to put it. He's going to put it where you need it to be. You don't need to tell him. You don't need to ask him. You just need to be in the right place at the right time. And this is what's starting to forge now. This relationship. We've seen it with so many great Liverpool partnerships, haven't we? Whether it's Dalglish, Rush, whether it's the 3, Mane, Salah, Firmino. It does come over time. This has taken a little bit longer than maybe what we thought, but it's definitely getting there. But Ekitiké, I mean, he doesn't get rewarded sometimes with the work that he does. Listen, I thought he was fantastic tonight. He's a threat. He's unpredictable. There's a rawness to his game. But listen, I think he will finish top scorer this season. I think his attitude, just the opportunities he creates, he'll come to the ball, he'll go the other way. Listen, the game played into his hands a little bit tonight because of the space that was in behind, so we had the opportunity to do lots of different things, and we've seen the best of him.